Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever heard that the secret to a quiet mind could be found in something as simple as a glass of water? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful story that shows us exactly that. So, let me ask you something. Does your mind ever just feel full? Like a nonstop storm of thoughts, worries, and plans just swirling around in there? If that sounds familiar, then you're really going to connect with the story of a young man named Marco. Yeah, for Marco, this wasn't just an occasional feeling. It was his everyday reality. His mind was this relentless storm, just a constant barrage of thoughts that never, ever seemed to quiet down. He was totally lost inside his own head. You see, Marco was basically caught in this mental tug of war. On one side, he was constantly replaying old events, getting stuck in regrets about the past. And on the other side, he was anxiously trying to predict every little thing that might happen in the future. He was completely trapped between yesterday and tomorrow, never actually living in the now. And this kind of mental chaos, it takes a real toll. That constant chatter in his head left him feeling uneasy and just tired all the time. He couldn't sleep right. And maybe saddest of all, he realized one day that he'd completely forgotten what it felt like to just smile, genuinely smile. So, feeling pretty hopeless, Marco hears a rumor, a story about a wise old man living way out in a distant village. Turns out, this guy was once a psychologist who just walked away from it all for a simpler life. For Marco, this felt like his last shot. He thought, maybe, just maybe, this man has the answer. So he set out on his quest. Now, this wasn't an easy trip. It was long, it was exhausting, which just goes to show how desperate he was for a solution. And when he finally gets there, what does he find? The wise man just sitting peacefully on his porch, almost like he was expecting him. So Marco walks up and he doesn't beat around the bush. He just lays it all out there. He says, "Grandfather, my mind is so restless. I literally cannot stop thinking. Please, can you help me?" Just a simple, honest plea. And the wise man's reaction? He just smiles. He doesn't launch into some big, complicated lecture. Instead, he gives Marco a task, a really peculiar challenge. Something that, on the surface, seems way too simple to solve such a big problem. Okay, so here's the task. He tells Marco to take a glass of water, fill it right up to the absolute brim, and walk to the edge of the village and all the way back. And the catch? The one and only rule: you cannot spill even one single drop. And you have to understand, this was not some peaceful walk in the park. Oh no. The path the wise man sent him on was pure chaos. The road was narrow and packed with people rushing around. You had shopkeepers shouting out to customers, dogs barking like crazy. It was basically an obstacle course for his attention, almost designed to make him sail. But something amazing happened. Marco didn't even notice the chaos. He didn't look around, he didn't hear the noise. It's like his entire world just shrank down to the size of that glass of water. He walked super slowly, super carefully, step by step. His focus was absolute. And guess what? He did it. So Marco gets back, right? And he's feeling pretty proud of himself, as you would be. But this is where the real lesson begins. This is when the wise man starts to reveal the why behind the whole thing. The wise man doesn't say, "Great job." Nope. Instead, he just looks at him and asks a couple of questions. Things like, "Did you see the kids playing on the side of the road? Did you happen to hear all those dogs barking?" And Marco's just surprised. He shakes his head and says, "No, I didn't see or hear any of that. I was only focusing on the glass." It's like a light bulb goes off. The kids, the dogs, the shouting, all that noise just vanished because his attention was completely locked on that one task. And that's when the wise man explains the secret. He says, that feeling you had, that state of total focus, that is what it means to be in the present moment. See, when your mind is that engaged, that focused, there's just no room for anything else. No space for worrying about the future, no space for dwelling on the past. The storm just can't exist in that moment. It turns out the peace Marco had traveled all this way to find wasn't in some distant village at all. It was inside him the whole time. It was something he could access anytime he chose to bring all of his attention, all of his focus to right here, right now. So, with this incredible new understanding, Marco's journey home was completely different. He wasn't just going back to his old house, he was returning to his life with a totally new way of thinking. I mean, look at the difference. The transformation was huge. The restless, worried guy who left home was now calm and peaceful. He finally understood the secret to managing that inner storm. All he had to do was find his own glass of water to focus on. And really, that's the whole point of this story, isn't it? The big takeaway is that true peace isn't about clearing your mind. It's about filling it with the present moment, anchoring yourself right here, right now. Not yesterday, not 5 minutes from now, but this moment. So that really just leaves one last question. And this one's for you. Think about it for a second. What in your life demands that kind of full, undivided attention? What's the one thing you can focus on so intently that all the other noise just fades into the background? What is your glass of water?